Welcome back to What Arty Noobs with General Disturbance. This is the KV-1. It's a Tier 5 Soviet heavy tank. It's located on the northeast corner of Karelia, and it's under the command of Yanee77. Now I can tell straight away that he's got the 122mm howitzer, and you don't see that all that often nowadays, mainly down to the fact that, of course, HE has been nerfed. He's also got 2 marks of excellence on the barrel of his howitzer. Now, he's capable of doing 450 alpha, and that's with the HE rounds, 61mm of pen, and fairly slow shell velocity, 515, which means he's almost lobbing the shells at the enemy. With the heat rounds, and he has loaded heat to start with, he's got 370 alpha, and 140mm of pen, and an even slower shell. Now, what can I tell you about the KV-1? Oh, it's been spotted. Somebody saw him. Well, the KV-1 was a tank that was actually prototyped and started work on in 1938. Prototyped in August of 1939, and it first saw combat in December of 1939. So it wasn't actually in action for the invasion of Poland, but it did actually see action in the Winter War against Finland. In fact, a number of them got captured by the Finns. They stopped manufacturing them in August of 1942, by which time they'd manufactured 2,769 KV-1s. Oh, just nuked that M5 Stuart. In fact, that's probably not a term I ought to use from now on, because after all, it might actually happen to all of us. Yes, rather ominously. Escalate to de-escalate, as they say. Anyway, the KV-1 is quite a slow tank. It's only got a top speed of 34 kilometers an hour, so it could actually be outpaced by the T-34s. And that made it a bit of a problem, because it was always slow, it was always sluggish and behind their fellow tanks. They also have very low gun depression, only 7 degrees of gun depression, so it's a bit difficult shooting over ridgelines like he's doing right now. And although that hit the side of the Panzer IV Aslains H, it didn't penetrate. And now he's got a problem, because that's a T-34-85, and he's got an 85mm shell capable of doing 180 alpha with decent pen. So he really doesn't want that guy to get shots on him, but he's got very little gun depression. But oh, look at that! He got an ammo rack. That's the second ammo rack he's had this game. He killed the M5 Stuart with an ammo rack, and now he's just done it to the T-34-85, and he's just done the same to the Panzer IV Aslains H. Or rather, it wasn't an ammo rack, but it was overwhelming. It took the guy out completely. So he's actually having a lot of luck with these heat rounds. Okay, KV-1. There you are. Hello. Goes to the weak spot, the rail along the front of the vehicle where the driver's viewport is. He just took an 85mm round, and he got set on fire, but he just put another heat round through the front. This is going to cost him a pretty penny, but he is going to get a lot of damage. And there goes that KV-1. Now he got 2 shots there. One that came in for the KV-1, the other one came in from the enemy Fifi, and he's firing premium HE at us. You can hear another roar in the distance, and I think, yes, that's another HE round that's failed to hit. You can see one of those rounds actually hit the engine deck of the vehicle, and that was the Fifi. If you're wondering what Fifi is, it's a 105 Lefh 18B2, the French Tier 5 Premium SPG, and you can see that Yanni's down to just 23 hit points left. He took on so much damage from the KV-1 and from the C-34 that he's virtually used up all of the 840 hit points he started the battle with. And their team are down to just 3 players. So they're going to have to fight off 7 enemy tanks with just 3 tanks. And remember, one of those is that Fifi. Now this tank does have a fairly decent DPM with the HE rounds. Well, it used to. It was 2,500 hit points a minute. With the 85mm, it could do 2,002. And I believe with the 57mm gun, it could actually do even more. And that would actually be, I can look it up, 2,312. Now there is a version of this tank, the standard version is the one with the 76.2mm gun. That's not very good because it doesn't have much in the way of pen. It's only got a DPM of 1,700 and it'll only do 110 damage and penetrate 86. So you're much better off using the 57mm or the 85mm. But of course you get a slightly different characteristics, numbers of shells and the like. The 122 is fun, but so few people play it now based on the fact that HE has been nerfed. He managed to block that shot from the P2640 and that was a heat round as well. So that must have hit the track. So don't show your front to the enemy here. Angle. Oh. Well, that was unfortunate. He's back against the rock. He couldn't move any further and he just got taken out by the enemy Dicamax. So it's now all down to his teammates in the M10. And he's the last one alive. So I think they're going to lose this one. And they have lost it. But he did put up a good fight. Here's the end of battle stats. And that was a first class tanker for Yanee77 in the KV-1. He got Demolition Expert more than once, actually. He got it twice. He did it once to the M5 Stewart and the other time to the T-34-85M. And he blew the Panzer IV apart, but he didn't get a demolition off that one because he didn't set the ammunition rack up. He just overwhelmed it. He got a fire for effect for doing more damage than hit points to his own vehicle. A bruise the metal for getting at least 5 critical hits. He got 5 exactly. He got a high caliber for dealing the most damage in that game overall. And his win rate was 9,768, which is Super Unicum standard and quite a bit more. But sadly, he wasn't able to win the game. He said 1 shot kills times 2. Well, yes, it was, because he wiped out that T-34, popped his top and the M5 Stewart. Well, he overwhelmed that guy. He didn't know what hit him. So let's have a look at team score. 3,020 hit points of damage. The next high scorer was the guy who actually killed him in that game, the Dicamax. He got 2,149 hit points. And the third highest damage in the game turned out to be the T-150 on the enemy team with 1,625. When it came to kills, it was the Dicamax who got the highest alongside the T-150 on their team. Both got 4 kills each. 3 kills went to the T-67 and also to Yanee in his KV-1. And when it came to base XP, it's the enemy team who comes out on top with the T-150 getting 1,018. He's the only player in the game who got over 1,000. The second highest being the Dicamax with 898. And the third highest being their T-67 with 826. And Yanee only got 674, but he is the highest on his team. And he beat all but the top 3 on the enemy team. He fired 11 rounds of 122mm ammunition, most of them heat rounds, 8 direct hits on the enemy, 7 penetrations. Yes, he was really using that heat rounds very effectively. 3,020 hit points of damage, all of it at close range. 11 hits received from the enemy, only 5 of which actually penetrated and 5 non-penetrations, and 2 hits by way of splash damage as well. 490 hit points of damage blocked by armor. 1 enemy vehicle spotted, 5 enemy vehicles damaged, 3 killed, and he earned 48,515 credits from the game, 4,496 for courageous resistance. That's for getting the high caliber in a losing game. 53,010 credits altogether, but the ammunition resupply, well, he was firing heat, and that is a premium round, and he actually ended up with a small loss of 6,750, but I don't think he'll mind that too much, because he did put up a good fight. He got 25 bombs out of that one. 1011 XP, 564 for courageous resistance, took away 1575 experience points altogether. Yeah, I guess he drove out all the way to that corner only to find that he had to go all the way back because most of his team had been wiped out. And by that time he'd already lost virtually all of his hit points. There was not much else that he could do. And he was kind of caught in the open when he was trying to engage that P2640 and the other tanks. And of course that gave the Dickomax a chance to use his gun depression. Dickomaxes do have 15 degrees of gun depression and a 105mm gun capable of doing 300 alpha. So he probably wasn't going to survive because even if he was angled, and he was angling, unfortunately he backed himself up against the rock, couldn't angle any further, and the Dickomax just took him out. So well done to the Dickomax, but a good try by Yanee. I think from now on, yes, it might be worth using the 122mm and just spamming those heat rounds for all they're worth. If you enjoyed that replay, please give this video a like, do subscribe to our channel, leave a little comment down below because it feeds the algorithm, and thank you for watching.